David,
two.
stay doing that, Daddy. Just stay
And
doing
like, well, I mean, at night I have, 2 or 3 vodkas, but other than that,
that.
it's
Like
never,
my parents said, everything in moderation. Right. Except
yeah,
like crack or heroin. Don't do that in moderate. Don't do it ever. At all, ever.
I would agree with that. So listen, during the 90s, we don't need to rehash it. Like, you also sued the band in 97 for unpaid
Well, no, I
royalties.
didn't sue the band. I sued Charlotte. And I sued Charlotte because well, and another thing I forgot to mention, which was really stupid, was a big part of why we broke up in '85 was royalties. Okay, you know, 3 members of the band were making way more than Belinda and I were, tons more, and we had all worked together to make that happen. And like I've said, and I'll say it a million times, you can write songs from now till you fucking drop dead, and unless you have the right vehicle to put those songs into and show them all around to the world, the right setting, it don't mean diddly squat. It doesn't mean a thing. And the Go-Go's were the right vehicle. So you know what? We're good together. We're good as a unit. Separately, I don't know how great we all are, but I mean, as the Go-Go's, it sure as hell worked. And so I was so pissed off because I wasn't paying attention. I was just living my life, and I went into the management office one day, and manager showed me a check of somebody in the band, and they were like, they're making fucking 4 times the amount of money I'm making. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't right. But that goes to show you, I'm not about business. I'm about music. I'm doing it because I love it. You know what I mean? And you hire these people around you to take care of the business, but sometimes they're not. Anyway, that created a big problem, and Belinda and I were super pissed about that. Although she took off without me, but I forgave her.
Well,
It was crazy for people to be making way more than other members of the band when it is the Go-Go's that helped everybody where we are even today be where we are. It's all because of the band.
I would agree with all that. I mean, you say you forgave and you smile. I mean, like, I don't know if I would. I mean, you come back together to do God Bless the Go-Go's in the early 2000s. It's just, you guys, I mean, to your point, like, these are major things, and just somehow you come back together again to record a new album.
Look, David, it didn't put me in the poorhouse, put it that way. I didn't have to sell my home. I didn't have to get rid of, anyway. I mean, my life has been good, and I've led a very comfortable life, but it really makes you angry when somebody's making 4 times what you make and you're working just as goddamn hard. And when I would think I'd have to set my fucking drums up, and I mean, like, I had the shittiest job as far as the work goes, and whatever. I don't want to go there, but it made me really angry. Talking about it makes me angry, but then it goes away the minute I stop talking about it, because that's what it was. We changed it up as years later, and things got split equally. And when we did the musical, everything was split equally, as it should be, And I've seen an article where a video where Jane said, it is something to be a writer. You have to take extra time. Well, I know that. I'm a songwriter, but that's just part of what you do. It's part of the job. Do you want to make it? And are you lucky enough to be in a band that's going to help you get your songs out there? That's all. I rest my case. And especially in a band like the Go-Go's, David. If you go to a show, there would be people there to see Kathy. There'd be people there to see me, to see Charlotte. Belinda's the focal point. She's the singer. Let's face it, and that's the way it goes. But, everybody had their fan club. People really loved all 5 of us. And that was something really special about this band,
Yes, 100%. Listen, this is my job. I would be speaking to you probably in some way regardless, but this chat is personal for me. I told you, my first concert ever, in excess, Michael Hutchins opening for the Go-Go's at New Haven Coliseum. So I've been to many of your shows. See, I'm getting emotional. And yes, there's other people there for you guys want to see everyone, but you have the Kathy fans, you have the Charlotte fans, someone wants to stand on this side of the stage. It's 100% like that. And that's not the case with every band out there.
No, it's not. It's like everybody, you had your own fan club. Everybody knew who the members were in the band. And that was really cool and so different than many bands out at the time.
I mean, I'm sorry to ask you these questions and then make you angry again, but then you're over them in a second. But Do you ever, so like, do you and the other members too, like, do you think, like, do you regret it? Does anyone regret, like people now there's 4 albums where it's like you could have been like 86, 87, 88, 89. If you have fans that are so diehard, like, do you look back and regret that? Do you think like Belinda regrets that? Or is it just like,
I can't speak for anybody in the band except myself. Um, I don't know. I know Jane said that she regretted, quitting the band and going out on her own. She, said she thought she was going to be a big star and she flopped. Well, she didn't flop. She put out some records, but the smart thing would have been to stay in the band, which is what I always hope. I always hope. I always want the band to be together, intact, and everybody go out and do their thing and come back together and be grateful and go, wow, we do something that people love. A lot more people than our solo shit. It's just the way it is. It's like the Beatles or the Stones or anybody else.
yes, I agree with all of that.
And your solo stuff, it's all valid. It's all important to you as an artist. And but I mean, and you need to do that. You need to write. You need to play your instrument and feel good about what you do. But at the end of the day, it's really kind of great if you can do it for somebody to listen. And the Go-Go's have the biggest listening audience out of anybody in the band. It's just the way it is.
Yes. What about then, that was all the 80s and the 90s, and like, with age comes wisdom. What about, when you guys, like, look, you've toured a lot throughout this whole thing. What about, it was only 10 years ago when, or even less, when, like now you're touring and now Kathy's not in the band. We have in a statement, Kathy's out of the band and we're going to tour and we're going to use different people to fill in. I mean,
Well,
that's
we used
nuts.
a girl named Abby Travis, and that that was another kind of messed up situation. But I really can't talk about that at all because we had to sign stuff, and so you're not allowed to talk about that. But Kathy came back. Uh, you know, uh, we had, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing came up. The musical came up, and it was like, this is Kathy helped do this. We need to get her back. She needs to come back. There was just some ugly stuff going on during that period of time that caused things to work out the way that it did. And my phone's ringing. Oh well. Anyway, but all that got sorted out, and that's why I always say we are a family, because we go through crap like that where we can't stand each other. But if you get all five of us in the room together, we might start screaming and hollering, but by the time we leave that room, we're going to be crying and hugging.